Welcome back to True Crime Nostalgia, where we deep dive into some captivating true crime stories.
Oh.
Uh, Today we're diving into a case that's both heartbreaking and puzzling. The unsolved murder of Dustin Kjersem.
Yeah, it's a case that really, I think, shatters that illusion of safety we often associate with, the wilderness.
Exactly. Dustin was 35 years old, a loving father, and a real outdoorsman. He vanished on October 10th during what should have been a routine solo camping trip near Big Sky, Montana. He was supposed to meet up with a friend a couple days later, but tragically that friend found Dustin dead in his tent.
And the really unsettling thing is initially everyone just assumed it was a bear attack. Montana's wilderness is beautiful, but it's not without its risks.
Right, and that's what makes this case so disturbing. The autopsy revealed that Dustin's death was not an accident but a homicide. He had multiple chop wounds indicating a very violent attack.
And Sheriff Dan Springer, who's heading the investigation, he called the attack vicious. And you can just sense the fear that this has instilled in the community, especially among those who, like Dustin, find peace and solace in the wilderness.
And speaking of the community, Dustin's sister Jillian Price made a very emotional plea for anyone with information to come forward. She talked about how close-knit everyone is out there and how this tragedy has really shaken their sense of security.
And what's so striking about this case is it's just shrouded in mystery. No clear motive, no suspect, just no answers for Dustin's family, and that just adds to the pain.
Absolutely. To really understand this case and the impact of this loss, we need to understand who Dustin was. Everything I've read paints a picture of a man who is deeply connected to Montana's landscape. Camping, fishing, snowboarding, those were his passions.
His sister Jillian shared some really heartwarming stories about their childhood, emphasizing how close they were. Especially after she became his guardian when they were teenagers. They had a very special bond.
She even mentioned that he would happily have tea parties with his niece. It really humanizes him, and it makes the brutality of this death even more incomprehensible.
It's those small details that remind us that, behind the headlines and statistics, there's a real person. There's a life full of potential cut tragically short.
It's heartbreaking. And while the investigation continues, the community is left grappling with this question. How could this happen here in a place where people go to seek refuge and tranquility?
It really challenges our perception of safety, doesn't it? We associate the wilderness with peace and solitude. But this case serves as a stark reminder that even in these idyllic settings, danger can lurk.
You're absolutely right. And that sentiment was echoed by Sheriff Springer. He emphasized that while they're actively pursuing leads, public assistance is absolutely crucial in a case like this. Someone out there might have seen something, anything that could help piece together what happened to Dustin.
And what's so perplexing is there's no apparent motive. Was this a random act of violence or was Dustin targeted? Until investigators uncover more, it's hard to even begin to speculate.
And that uncertainty must be so difficult for Dustin's loved ones to bear, especially his young daughter and stepson, who are now left without their father.
Absolutely. It's impossible to fathom the pain that they must be going through. And Dustin's family has set up a fundraiser. It's a way for the community to rally around them, offer support, help ensure that his children are taken care of.
That's a beautiful testament to the community's love and support for Dustin and his family. Even in the face of such tragedy, they're finding ways to honor his memory and help his children navigate this unimaginable loss.
It speaks volumes about the kind of person Dustin was, that even amidst this fear and uncertainty, people are choosing to focus on love and compassion.
It's a glimmer of hope in a very dark situation. But beyond the immediate impact on Dustin's family, this case raises broader questions about personal safety, particularly for those who share his love for the outdoors.
It forces us to confront the reality that no matter how prepared we are, there are always unforeseen risks. And it highlights the importance of situational awareness being vigilant, even in environments that we perceive as safe.
This case has really resonated with me personally. I, like many others, find solace in nature. But this tragedy really underscores the need to balance that enjoyment with a healthy dose of caution.
I think that's a really important takeaway. It's not about living in fear, but it is about being mindful of our surroundings and taking those precautions to protect ourselves no matter where we are.
Exactly. And while we may never fully understand the motives behind these senseless acts of violence, we can choose to learn from them, to strengthen our communities, be more vigilant, and support each other in times of need.
This case reminds us of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing our loved ones and appreciating each day.
Well said. The investigation into Dustin Kjeresem's murder remains open, and we can only hope that one day his family will find the answers that they desperately seek. But even as we grapple with the unknowns, His story compels us to confront these uncomfortable truths about safety and vulnerability, both in the wilderness and beyond.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you wonder, how can we reconcile that desire for adventure with the need for personal safety? It's a question a lot of outdoor enthusiasts are probably asking themselves right now.
It is. It's a tough question, and there are no easy answers. But I think this case highlights the importance of preparedness, awareness, and maybe even rethinking our approach to slow adventures in these really remote areas.
Perhaps. But we can't let fear dictate our lives. Dustin's love for the outdoors was a part of who he was, and I think it would be a disservice to his memory to shy away from the wilderness altogether.
I agree. It's about finding that balance right, respecting the potential dangers while still embracing that beauty and freedom that nature offers.
Exactly. And maybe it's also a reminder to check in with loved ones, let people know our plans, and take those extra steps to stay connected when we're venturing out alone.
Those are all really practical steps that could make a big difference. And while this case remains unsolved, it serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of community vigilance, and I think that enduring power of hope.
It's a story that forces us to confront uncomfortable truths, question our assumptions, and reevaluate our priorities. But ultimately, I think it's also a story about the resilience of the human spirit, the strength of community, and that unwavering pursuit of justice.
Well said. And for anyone listening who might have information related to Dustin's case, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, please don't hesitate to reach out to the authorities.
Yeah.
Even the smallest detail could be the key to bringing closure to his family and justice for Dustin.
It's a reminder that we all have a role to play in creating a safer world.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the unresolved case of Dustin Kjersem. It's a story that reminds us of the importance of community vigilance and the enduring power of hope. If you have any information that could help in the investigation, please contact the Gallatin County Sheriff's Office.
And remember, even in the face of darkness, there is always light to be found. And it really does make you think about how we balance enjoying nature, with the need for safety. It's a question a lot of people are asking themselves, especially those who love the outdoors like Dustin.
Yeah, no easy answers there.
Mm.
But this case definitely highlights the importance of being prepared, being aware, and maybe even rethinking those solo trips, especially in remote areas.
Yeah, maybe. But we can't let fear control us. Dustin loved being outside. It was a huge part of who he was, and I think it would be a disservice to him, to let this tragedy make everyone afraid of the wilderness.
I agree. It's all about balance, right? Respecting the dangers, but also appreciating the beauty and the freedom that nature gives us.
Exactly. And maybe it's a reminder to check in with people. Let your loved ones know your plans and take those extra steps to stay connected when you're going out there alone.
Such good advice. Really practical steps that could make all the difference. And while this case is still unsolved, it's a powerful reminder of the importance of community. Looking out for each other and never losing hope.
It's a story that makes us question things, makes us confront some uncomfortable truths and think about our priorities. But I think it's also a story about resilience, about the strength of community and that unwavering pursuit of justice.
Well said. And if anyone listening has any information about Dustin's case, no matter how small it seems, please reach out to the authorities. Even a tiny detail could help bring closure to his family and bring Dustin justice.
It's a reminder that we all have a part to play in making the world a safer place.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the unsolved case of Dustin Kjersem. It's a story that reminds us about community and the importance of watching out for one another and never giving up hope. If you have any information, please contact the Gallatin County Sheriff's Office.
And remember, even in the darkest of times, there's always light to be found.
Thanks for tuning in to True Crime Nostalgia, your go-to source for captivating crime stories. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into ongoing investigations and unresolved cases. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next time.